YNW Melly, he's had murder on his mind since like 2018. Okay, this guy had murder on his mind before he had even provably committed a murder. But the YNW Melly case, man, it's heating up. I kind of have avoided watching it because I really wanted to kind of catch up on it with you guys and kind of give my opinion on what's been going on. But oh boy, there's been a lot going on. Okay, so let's slowly ease our way into it. Let's kind of like pry our way into it. Let's not dive head first because you know what I'm saying, we might injure our heads if we do that. But you know, I'm pretty excited to talk about the Melly situation. So shout out to my guy Miko, who I was just shouting out mere moments ago. He has provided me with some interesting links, some interesting clips, some big boy information about YNW Melly, which I'll be honest, it wasn't looking good for Melly. It certainly wasn't looking good for Melvin. But you know what? He might pull it off. Like Melly, if Melly beats this case, you know, he might go on to be one of the biggest and most frightening artists that hip hop has ever seen. I mean, look, let's be real, all right? I'm not trying to get sued. I've been threatened with defamation by the NBA YoungBoy fans, the King Von fans, the Lil Durk fans. Everyone's saying I'm defaming your favorite rapper, but at risk of defaming YNW Melly, it damn near looked like he did that shit, okay? I'm not saying he did it. I'm not defaming the man, okay? Right? Okay? I haven't even consulted with a lawyer. That's just street knowledge. But it looked like he did that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's crazy. So let's catch up on what happened in day one of the Melly trial, just to give ourselves a little taste. You know what I'm saying? A little taste like Tiger. You know what I'm saying? But murders with murders. So let me find the links. What are the links? After he's been okay, so hopefully you guys can hear this, and hopefully you will be able to see it once I press the button. Boom. We're running I was about to say we're running a smooth operation here. I wouldn't say my operation is smooth. I would say we're running an operation that is kind of rough, but it's been sanded down with like half-hearted effort. But yeah, so 6 moments from YNW Melly's murder trial. Now, I've seen a few clips floating around on Instagram, social media and stuff. People are very much kind of, speculating. People are just going deep on the whole YNW Melly situation. And I don't know what sort of bread that the Law and Crime Network pay for what seems like exclusive and monetized access to the YNW Melly trial. But I don't think it's enough, because this is a blockbuster trial that they've got on their hands here. This is the OJ trial, but with a better soundtrack, if you ask me. But so let's get into it. Let's watch a couple of these. Let's watch a couple of these clips from the YNW Melly trial. So I've got some time codes here from my boy, my G Miko, who's laced me up with the perfect moment. So let's have a look. Let's see what's going on.
Interested to see what you think of what's gone on so far.
Can we hear that nicely?
In day
okay.
One. Let's take a look and get right to it with opening statements from Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley, who talks about what she believes happened in this case.
On October 26th of 2018, this defendant shot and killed 2 of his friends. He killed Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to set out the story and how this unfolded, and lay out what I expect the evidence will show during the course of this trial. First thing you're going to hear is that at 4:35 a.m. on October 26th of 2018, Cortland Henry, the co-defendant, shows up at Memorial Miramar Hospital. In his car, he has 2 dead bodies. In the front passenger seat is Anthony Williams. In the rear passenger seat is Christopher Thomas. They are dead, they are riddled with bullets, and the car is full of blood. Christopher Thomas is sitting in the rear. There is multiple defects to his body. Anthony Williams, who is sitting in the front, has 2 major injuries. Officer Jessica Amangor is working a detail at the hospital. Cortland Henry runs in, starts telling a story about a drive-by. Quote-unquote drive-by.
Now,
all right, Minas.
I don't need these guys' analysis, but I'll say the first thing that I think suspect about this whole situation is that how many millions of times have we heard rappers, street rappers, but hell, rappers in general, talking about no snitching, We never talk to the cops. We never speak to the cops. But what they just said was that, you know what I'm saying, was that, it's Portland, right? They said that he ran into the hospital and was singing like Mariah all about a drive-by shooting. Now, these are all dudes that are supposedly solid, no snitching, never talk to the cops. But in this case, they were singing, you know what I'm saying, they were singing like Drizzy at a Sweet 16. So that was always a bit suspect from the outset. But obviously there's a lot against them, but what we're going to find out is there's actually a lot of stuff in Melly's favor that maybe we weren't too aware of previously, and so, you know, this thing's heating up. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look.
Of the murders after the murders occurred. So let's take a listen.
You'll see on October 26th, after about 8 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time, multiple messages are coming in. Messages are coming in from individuals checking to see if he's okay, if he's been injured in this drive-by. If it's true that Anthony Williams, who's also sometimes referred to as Sack, and Chris Thomas, who is referred to as Juvie, are really dead. One individual, and specifically, sends out, and I want to quote the message exactly that you will hear.
Now, they never tell us, at least at this stage in the trial, who this individual is that sent this message to Melly. But I gotta know. Maybe it'll come out eventually, but this ain't a good look, and this is a piece of evidence that hadn't been heard before.
And says, right after this, yo, homie, you good? Let me know something. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is where context matters. What does that mean? If you work at Google and you say, my whole floor is coding, that's a good thing. If you work at Broward General Hospital and you say, my whole floor is coding, that is a bad thing.
So, like, what she's saying is that, you know, if you work at the local massage parlor and you say, I spent all night long sliding, that's a good thing. But if you're a member of the Rollin' 60s Crips and you say, I spent all night sliding, that's also a good thing if you're a Rollin' 60s Crip. No, that's a bad thing. No, that's a bad thing for your case. But what she's saying is that, you know what I'm saying, that you can say the same thing, and in some context it can be good, in some context it can be bad. And what Melly is about to say is going to come across real bad.
The context around the messages matters. So in the context of this message, this individual is reaching out, asking if Mr. Demmons is good, after he's been tagged in multiple social media posts about this drive-through, this shooting. And Mr. Demmons responds very succinctly, I did that. Shh.
So the state is...
Now, that looks bad. You know, 2 of Melly's friends were killed. A concerned friend gets in touch, talking about, you know, are you okay? Let me know, I need to hear from you. What's going on? And he replies, I did that. But he did say shh afterwards, and as we all know in gangland, as long as you put the shh emoji after you admit to a crime, they can't use that in court. Wait.
Responds very succinctly, I did that. Shh.
Okay, I think they can use that in court. I think if you put the shh emoji after you admit to a crime in your messages, I think maybe they can. Actually, I think they might be able to use that against you. Damn, I didn't know that. You know, it always seemed like if you put the shush emoji after admitting to your crimes, you would just slide. So, damn. Okay, that's shaking things up. Jokes aside, that's a really bad look. You're telling me that somebody asked YNW Melly what happened, are you okay? And he said, I did that. Shh. That's like, you know, what are those dumb things that you see? You know, the Joe Biden, the gag, those stickers that people put. Melly said this. This is what Melly said. He said that. You know what I'm saying? We need to slap one of these on the bullet-riddled car with Melly's picture on it. I did that. But then he did say shush afterwards, so, you know, you can't really hold that against him, surely. Yeah, not a great look. Not a great look at all. So let's keep on going. But the plot the plot thickens, okay? The plot thickens like stew.
Some way, some admission of guilt, and in my perspective, I think it's not enough.
Well, Melly's defense attorney, David A. Howard, he doesn't think it's enough either. And he says his client is on trial because Miramar police conducted a sloppy investigation and basically decided he was guilty from the get-go. Take a listen.
3 years after arresting this young man and sticking him in a cell, the state looks at its case and says, oh man, this looks a little incompetent. Miramar police seems to have botched this investigation, and they call the Broward Sheriff's Office and ask them to come and look at the investigation upon which this entire prosecution rests. And he looks at it, and he says he instantly knew he had to start from scratch. I think his words were, it was the worst thing I had seen in my life. This is the Broward Sheriff's Office evaluating the work product of the Miramar Police Department.
Now, I don't know too much about this case or the Miramar Police Department, but I've got to shout out the Miramar Outlet Mall. I've had many good times at the Miramar Outlet Mall. I've purchased many good products from the Miramar Outlet Mall. And quite frankly, if Melly did commit these crimes, you know, I think he does need to serve justice for these crimes against Miramar, because as an area with such a high-quality outlet mall, I don't think they deserve to have such serious crimes. So before we go on, you know, I just want to do almost like a little ad read. I'm not being paid to do this, but I got to just say, you know, if you are somehow involved in this case, you know, if you've been affected by any of Melly's crimes and, you know, you're feeling depressed, upset, anxious about how this case is going, consider going and, you know, just taking the load off at the Miramar Outlet Mall, because it's exceptional. Honestly, it's an exceptional mall. I've been here on many trips when I've been to Miami. Excellent outlet mall. You know, amazing choice. This Ralph Lauren, I have many garments from this Ralph Lauren in particular. There's a very good Coach store there. My Coach backpack is from there. Many good places at the Miramar Outlet Mall. So, you know, just you know, I don't know too much about the Miramar PD, but the Outlet Mall, unsurpassed.
And we have problems with the Broward Sheriff's Office redo as well, but you're going to hear about that during the course of this trial. Ladies and gentlemen, the murder of anybody and the murder of these two young men was a tragedy.
I like the way I kind of like, where's he going? But like, I'm sure I can tell he's cooking, and this guy seems pretty good. But he's like, the murder of anybody. The murder of anybody is terrifying. These two guys too. Like, where's he going? He's cooking. He's like, you know what I'm saying? But this murder ain't so bad. This one ain't so bad.
You're not here to solve a crime. That's their job, and they have botched it.
I mean, it's one of these things. It's almost like the Andrew Tate method of kind of like, you know, he's making the argument seem so compelling. He's made the argument seem so compelling. He's kind of like, you know, he's quite compelling the way he's saying it. Is that's their job. They botched this investigation. I mean, did they? Because, like, let's see the rest of the evidence. But, like, I mean, I'll be honest, like, from what I've read and the stuff that I've seen, I've been quite impressed with the investigation, quite frankly. Some of the information that's come out. I mean, that just having that last text message alone where he says, I did that, where he hit him with the Joe Biden special, that was quite impressive. So I'm not convinced on his... I'll be honest, it sounds compelling, and he is a very good orator. You know what I'm saying? He's got some serious... I can't think of many legal dramas that I can even say he's like, there's someone good in a legal drama, but like, this guy's compelling. But at the same time, if his argument is they botched the investigation, like, let's see you prove that. Like, let's see you get into that. You know what I mean? There's and I know he's about to say something quite interesting, but you know, let's keep going, because I've got something interesting to say on the next piece.
I love you. It's so funny. We were kind of on the same wavelength here. But you're right. I mean, it says is specifically people.
Then there's Robert Colbert. Who is he? He's a gentleman that owns a social media account by the name of Backwards. This social media account, almost immediately, within days after these murders, posts this message: LOL, we killed 2 of your niggas. Oh, really? Took him 7 months to go and talk to Mr. Colbert, the owner of this account, that posts what amounts to an unequivocal confession to involvement in that murder, in those murders. 7 months. Why? Moretti already had his guy. And when they go and talk to Mr. Colburn, what does he say? He said, oh, I created that account and I sold it for $20 to somebody else. Who'd you sell it to? Oh, I can't remember. Were you at the murder scene? No. Did you do it? No. Case closed. That's it. No more investigation. It would occur to a reasonable person, let alone a seasoned investigator acting in good faith.
Now, I'm no big city lawyer, but that argument is straight trash, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm literally the person who, obviously, I've got no time to go and find the clip, but there'll be a clip of me floating around somewhere where I essentially said, here's the reason why I thought Melly did it, is because I said, how many situations do you see where rappers are in these gang feuds, somebody gets killed, and the ops who are responsible are itching to claim responsibility for the crime, to brag about the murder, to say we smoked your man, yada, 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 yada. And I'll be honest, when this clip was floating around, some people sent this to me and were kind of like, yeah, see, like, people were claiming the murder, so obviously Melly didn't do it. Here's the problem with that, and let's just go back and break down some of what was just said step by step, because I'm going to point out, I'm just going to give you, and this guy's a really compelling speaker, which I think makes everything he says, like the Andrew Tate method. Andrew Tate speaks with so much authority, you damn near believe everything he says. But then we take a step back and actually put it on paper and actually apply a modicum of critical thinking to what's actually, to the words being said. It doesn't stand up. I see people in the chat saying apparently this is the same lawyer that got Boosie off of death row. Shout out to him. He's clearly very good, but I think this argument is trash. People are saying the YouTube volume is super low. I can turn that up. Let me turn that up. Crank it up. Crank it up. Little David Banner for you. Okay.
He's a gentleman that owns a social media account by the name of Backwards.
Now, again, it's like, to the average jury and the way he's describing things, it sounds normal. But if you know about hip-hop, a social media account called Backwards, I'm immediately not taking that seriously. You know what a backwards is, right? For maybe I don't even know. I can't possibly imagine somebody would be watching this stream without knowing what a backwards is. But that's a blunt wrap. That's what you roll your marijuana up in and smoke it. And it's also what you'd roll your ops up in and smoke them if you smoked an op recently. So, you know what I'm saying? A random social media account called Backwards. I'm not taking this majorly seriously to begin with, but it gets worse.
This social media account, almost immediately, within days after these murders, posts this message: LOL, we killed 2 of your niggas.
Obviously, I can't say the word, but this account has supposedly said, LOL, we killed 2 of your neighbors. Okay, you know the word I'm talking about, the other word. So that doesn't really say anything. How many people have told Lil Durk that they're smoking on Von? You know, how many people have said, we smoked your mans, or your mans got smoked? You know, if you don't like a rapper, or if there is a rapper and one of their friends or relatives unfortunately loses their life, if they're a contentious rapper with a bunch of ops and a bunch of fans on the internet who don't like them, there is going to be a bunch of fans, possibly with accounts titled Backwards, possibly with the display pictures of either the Little Durk or Youngboy album as their display picture, dissing and saying that they're smoking on this or that person. That is not proof of anyone being actually murdered by the person who owns the account, right? That's absurd. And he's about to go into, you know, obviously anybody that's studied the law will know about kind of the reasonable man test. And, you know, he's making obviously this legal argument that the reasonable person would have looked into this in more detail. But actually they wouldn't, because if the reasonable person would investigate every single Twitter account that told Lil Durk that they're smoking on Von and we smoked Von, you know, we'd have 500,000 people in custody for Von's murder. And, well, I don't think Von was murdered, but anyway, we can talk about that later. But you know what I'm saying? That's not true. There's one guy on a surveillance camera that shot Von. You know, we don't need to investigate 5,000 social media accounts with blunt wraps as their names. Okay, we don't need to do that. That's not reasonable. So, in my opinion, I don't think he's making a valid argument.
Oh, really?
It's like this guy. I don't think this guy spent enough time on Drill Instagram, because it's like he's like, I can't believe that somebody would have posted that we smoked your mans on Instagram. Oh, really? Yeah, really. People post that all the time. I'm not saying it's good, but that's par for the course. Okay, people say they're smoking on me, plenty, right? And I ain't running to the feds.
It took him 7 months.
It took him 7 months because it's not credible. It doesn't seem credible.
To go and talk to Mr. Colbert, the owner of this account, that posts what amounts to an unequivocal confession.
He says he's posted on this account what quotes to an unequivocal confession. And to be fair, the way it's worded, we killed 2 of your neighbors, it's you know, it does amount to a confession. But here's the case, right? Here's the situation. Is there any evidence that this person actually was involved in the murder? It sounds like no. And it sounds like the police spoke to this person and looked into the circumstances and concluded pretty clearly, I don't think this dude with the backwoods Instagram account had anything to do with this actual murder. Contrast that with Melly, who, as we're about to see, there's quite a lot of evidence placing him in the car that turned up at the hospital with 2 dead bodies in it. Placing him near the location when the supposed shooting took place. We're going to see all of this stuff, like actual concrete cold hard evidence that seems to tie Melly to the situation. Whereas this guy, he argues so well. It's so I want to believe him. But what has he got? He's got an Instagram account with a blunt wrap as the display picture of some random dude saying we killed your friends. It's not evidence of anything.
To involvement in that murder. In those murders. 7 months. Why? Moretti already had his guy.
The thing is, he's saying it, he's like casting this doubt. 7 months. Why? He already had his guy. But he kind of did already have his guy. He's got surveillance footage placing Melly in the actual car where the murders took place. He kind of had his guy, so why would he waste his time running around chasing blunt rap themed Instagram accounts with no evidence actually tying them to the murder?
And when they go and talk to Mr. Coburn, what does he say? He said, oh, I created that account and I sold it for $20 to somebody else. Who'd you sell it to? Oh, I can't remember. Were you at the murder scene? No. Did you do it? No. Case closed. That's it.
This is the thing. He's like, case closed. Oh, unbelievable that the police didn't investigate this further. Well, they asked him if he was at the murder scene. He said no. I assume when they looked at the surveillance footage of, maybe not the murder scene because I don't think they've got surveillance of that, but people getting in the car which turned up to the hospital with 2 dead bodies in it, I don't think they saw a guy with his Instagram open on the surveillance footage with a backwards image that they could see in 4K. No. They saw YNW Melly, YNW Bortland, YNW Sack Chaser, YNW Juvie getting in the same car, a car that turned up at the hospital later with 2 dead bodies. So this guy articulates himself well. He makes a compelling argument. He speaks with this passion that makes me want to believe him, but he's actually not offering anything of substance at all. Yeah, exactly. Coach Clay's that's it, 'cause there's nothing there, bro.
No more investigation. It would occur to a reasonable person. No,
it wouldn't. It would occur to a reasonable person that's never used Instagram, has never listened to drill music before. And maybe those are the sorts of people that are on the jury. But it's not reasonable. Is it reasonable to expect the police to investigate every single person that's ever said they've smoked on somebody? No.
Let alone a seasoned investigator acting in good faith.
So, moving on from that, and it's ironic because it's like we're going to go from that into this, which is going to be it's got sort of like such a leap. It's going to be such a leap of like, you know, for the rest of this case, it's almost like, man, that guy who had the backwards Instagram account damn near got away with murder here. He damn near got away with murder. He's laughing.
Described YNW Bortland. That's
and he comes running
to the ER.
So this is a woman that was working at the emergency room and was there when the car with the 2 bodies came in, and this is going to be interesting.
So I'm sitting at the ER desk, and he comes running inside to my left, so the pediatric entrance, and he's very excited, like heightened state of alert, something traumatic or something just happened. And he's like, hey, they just shot my car, they shot my friends, like I need help, can you come help me? And that was the initial interaction.
And based on his statement, how do you proceed?
So as soon as I walk out the ER and I see the vehicle had multiple bullet holes on the side, I immediately radio in for additional resources because that's beyond my scope of I can handle by myself. And then asking, hey, I need additional officers, as soon as possible, urgently to respond to the hospital. I have a vehicle that's been involved in a shooting. I can see the multiple bullet holes. And then looking inside the vehicle, I can see 2 unresponsive males. So I advise I have possible dead persons as well.
I can't believe Backwards did this, man. Backwards just why didn't they catch the real guy, man? The Backwards Instagram account guy, bro. It's unbelievable, this terrible investigation.
Anna Mangor testified about being at the hospital when Bortland showed up with Juvie and Sack Chaser in the Jeep that morning. Surveillance video played showing the SUV pulling into the hospital, and then Henry going into the ER and Juvie and Sack Chaser being placed on stretchers. Mangor said she tried to help the men, but they were dead. Then there was a somewhat dramatic moment on cross where Melly's attorneys pointed out that the ER was a crime scene, but there was really no log of who was coming and going. There was another moment as well.
Was the crime scene also inside the hospital where Mr. Cortland Henry was?
Yeah, the whole ER was shut down.
Okay, so in other words, no one was allowed in that area that we saw.
Unless they were needing emergency care, that would go to another room, but the ER was shut down.
So I'm real clear. Do you know the names of all, did you document the names of all the officers and detectives that responded?
No, I didn't.
So we're perfectly clear. Could you stand up? You didn't see this young man getting out of the Jeep at any time, correct?
No, sir.
Fair enough.
No shit. He wasn't there. That doesn't prove anything. This is another really dumb move, and something they were really trying to cast doubt on the fact of like, oh well, they were just allowing all random people to walk in and out of the emergency room whilst it was a crime scene. Who knows who could have come in? Like what you think Backwards is going to come in and kill them again? That doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. The murder had already taken place. The crime had already taken place. This is just the surveillance footage is just a raft of additional evidence surrounding the bodies and the murders. It's not this gotcha of like, oh, let's have Melly stand up. Was this man there at the emergency room? No, I rest my case. Dude, he smoked them earlier on. This ain't like some of these are the most dumbest technical anti-defenses I've ever seen, and he's not like, it's not making any sense. That's not a defense. Well, Melly wasn't there at the emergency room when they dropped off the bodies, so he definitely can't have done it. I mean, why didn't they show her a copy of the Backwards Instagram account? Did you see this Instagram account in the emergency room with the bodies? No? Exactly. Somehow that means something. No, I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced.
The law questions up to where they were shadowing teachers as well. Melly's friend. Another really important moment was during that video where they were showing Melly's friends being carried out. He shed a tear from what I saw, and it was an emotional moment for him, which I thought was really, really important to see him kind of tear up and get emotional at seeing his friends carried out on the stretcher and headed into the hospital. I thought that was really important as well.
I heard that. I heard people saying. Sorry, I should have shown you that clip. I was about to say you can't actually see him crying. Sorry, I didn't show you it, but he doesn't. I haven't seen him crying. People are saying he actually shed a tear. I haven't seen nothing of him shedding a tear, so I didn't see that. I didn't catch that. But it's not looking amazing.
What were your thoughts on everything that we saw?
So yeah, that's not like. you know, it's not crazy, to be honest. I'm not going crazy about it. But you know, so that was day one essentially, and I knew about some of this stuff. This stuff was really going crazy online. But we got is this the same link? Let me see. Let me just check. So day 2 happened today, and I actually know zero about day 2. So there's more of the opening statement where the prosecutor kind of breaks down what she believes happens, and obviously this is quite interesting because she's going to break down a lot of the evidence that hasn't been shown yet, but is going to come up. And you know what I'm saying, it doesn't seem like it implicates anybody on a backwards Instagram account. Okay, so you know what I'm saying. Let's check this out at 3:10.
Intersection of Miramar Parkway, 184th, 1 mile. So you're going to hear and find that Mr. Henry's statement that the car is traveling westbound on Memorial Parkway, then goes north on 172nd and shows up at the hospital for the drive-by is completely and utterly false. How can I tell you that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the detectives from Miramar at this point shut down the entire length of Miramar Parkway from 160th to 172nd. And they sit and they walk side by side for an hour.
Oh wait, that's not super interesting. So she essentially breaks down a number of things. Maybe it's best if I don't just rewatch that, but like she essentially breaks down a number of things which you know are interesting. But it's stuff that we kind of already know. You know, it's the fact that you know, Melly is on surveillance footage leaving the recording studio in the same car as the 2 men that died and the 1 man that drove the bodies to the hospital. You know, there's no Instagram account that can explain for that. He got in the car, and then 2 of those people wound up dead. And, you know, it's alleged that Melly ended up in another vehicle and ended up going elsewhere. The claim, the bold claim that's been made is that actually Fredo Bang, Baton Rouge's, I was about to say Baton Rouge's favorite, but obviously not the case. Baton Rouge's second favorite rapper, I would say. You know, apparently he was literally the dude that picked Melly up after the shooting. So that's kind of pretty spicy. Like, what's that all about? You know, and there's this Instagram, there's this Vlad clip going around where they're talking about it. And I'll be honest, it would be crazy to see Fredo Bang testifying in this case, and he does sound pretty heavily implicated, if I'm honest. Look, Fredo Bang, he don't have to say nothing apparently, and fair play to him. But my God, I mean, this shit's like a movie, bro. How have we ended up having Fredo Bang driving Melly away from the murder scene of his 2 friends? Like, I mean, this is just like you couldn't write the script. It's an all-star cast. I mean, what are we gonna hear next? That he bought the gun from King Von or something? Like, I don't know where we're going with this, but it's getting deep and it's getting twisted. So this case is going pretty crazy. Now, I don't know anything about the day 2 of the trial, but there's a video here I've got. It's key takeaways from day 2. So maybe we'll check this out real quick.
Welcome everyone to Law and Crime Daily. I'm Brian Buckmeyer. Day 2 of rapper YNW Melly's murder trial in South Florida brought long periods of testimony from crime scene investigators. The prosecution wants to show the jury why they believe Melly was the shooter inside an SUV back in October of 2018. Melly, whose given name is Jamel Demons, is accused of killing 2 men he called his friends. In October of 2018, Melly's best friend, Cortland Henry, showed up at a Miami hospital claiming his friends were caught in a drive-by shooting and were bleeding out in the car. Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas had multiple gunshot wounds and were pronounced dead. Henry told officers they were shot at while leaving a recording studio. But when police got there, they said there was no evidence that a drive-by had occurred. Investigators determined the victims were shot by someone in the car, and surveillance showed 4 men inside, including Melly. Police arrested Melly and Henry on 2 counts of first-degree murder each. They are being tried separately and have both pled not guilty. The prosecutor walked one investigator through the photos he took of the Jeep where Thomas and Williams were killed.
Goddamn Napoleon Dynamite testifying up in this bitch.
Some of the photos do show blood inside the SUV.
That is the area between the front passenger seat and the door jamb for the front passenger door.
Okay.
Next photo, what are we looking at here?
That is the front passenger side floorboard.
Moving on here, the seats, did you manipulate them in any way before taking this photograph?
No, I did not.
Moving on into the next photograph, what are we looking at there?
Those are gold caps for teeth.
And so it's clear that that's a close-up photo from this rear passenger door. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, that is correct.
What are we looking at in this photo?
That is a spent projectile.
So I'm going to go back a photo. Is that the same projectile that is down here?
Yes, it is.
Going forward again, what are we looking at in this image?
That is the rear passenger side floorboard and items that were found there.
Continuing to the next photo, what are you documenting in this image?
It's grisly, you know. I mean, honestly, it's interesting to just even see this, because I think, you know, so much speculation has been made around this case, and there were pictures, I believe, of the exterior of the car already made public. But seeing the bloody interior of the car that, you know, Melly allegedly killed his friends inside, it just really drives home how messed up this is. You know, this is it's not a joke. You know, this isn't sort of a fun hip hop story, a whodunit. Like, this is a grisly murder. And, you know, this is the reality behind the music. Not saying that Murder on My Mind was about this, but this is the kind of energy Melly was putting out into the world. And, you know, this is what a murder really looks like, and it ain't glamorous.
In this image, you can see the partial back of the front passenger side seat, the, again, floorboard of the rear passenger side floorboard, the rear passenger side seat, and a projectile hole that you can see defect on the seat.
And so I'm going to zoom in on an area. Can you explain what you're talking about, the projectile hole?
Yes.
And you can use the screen to touch if you're to draw attention to certain areas.
I observed a defect in the seat that is later on gone into detail.
Okay. What are you documenting in this image?
This image shows the trunk which had been opened, and in the photograph you can see the car manual and a jacket.
Did you disturb any of the glass? Did any of the glass move when you were opening that trunk?
Not that I recall.
All right, let's bring in my co-host, former trial attorney Terry Austin, and our very special guest, former homicide prosecutor Bernardo Villalona. Terry,
so there's people in the chat saying, did they aim and shoot vertically down? It looks like the bullet stuck in the floor. Now, I believe what's being alleged is that they shot up the car from the inside and he killed his two friends, and then they got out the car and shot at the car again to stage a drive-by. I wouldn't say, maybe it doesn't necessarily look like the bullet's completely vertical, but, you know, you could imagine they got out the car and just sprayed it up from all different angles to try and make it look like this drive-by. So I guess bullets could be lodged in all type of places and stuff. But let's keep hearing what they have to say, because I'm clueless about day two, but that definitely was grisly, but I'm not sure that necessarily proves anything.
A lot of today's testimony may have seemed really dry, not just to some of our viewers, but probably some of us as well. But why is it necessary to go through each and every piece of evidence in so much detail?
Well, because under the federal rules of evidence, you have to make sure that obviously it's relevant, and all these photos with this particular witness were relevant, but you have to lay a foundation to authenticate each and every photo. And in order to do that, you have to ask the individual, did you take the picture? Is this a fair representation? Is it an accurate representation of the scene at the time? If all of that goes well, then it can be introduced. But the process itself is also tedious, because you have to first ID the piece of evidence, and then you have to show it to opposing counsel, and then you have to show it to the witness, and then you lay that foundation, and then the judge, you may get an objection and the judge has to rule, then you have it into evidence and it's published. So it's a process.
Yeah, and those are the same rules that the states have. I always tell people, hey, the foundation of a home isn't sexy, but if it's cracked, you're not going to want to buy that home. It's probably the same thing here. Bernardo, some of the photos of the crime scene showed graphic footage of the car containing bloodstains. There was an objection by defense at one point. Do you think the photos could be prejudicial to the jury?
So
So you have to think with these photographs, the judge had to weigh its probative effect versus its probative value versus its prejudicial effect. Of course,
it's crazy to be like, do you think this bloodied car where two people were murdered will prejudice the jury? I mean, I don't know. Like, they got to see the car where the guys were killed, surely, right? Like, oh, do you think YNW Melly's text where he says I did that will prejudice the jury? Well, is it prejudice or is it facts? I don't know. I'm no big city lawyer once again, but I mean, I feel like they got to see this, and it's, I guess maybe they're saying, oh, it prejudices the jury because they're going to see how grisly it is, and they're going to have utmost sympathy. But at the same time, the degree to which the murder was grisly has no bearing on their opinion on who did it. You know, if a murder's grisly, it doesn't mean, oh, well, I'm just going to pick the first guy I see on the street and blame him for this because it was so grisly. I'm just going to pick any dude because that's how logic works, and don't think so.
it's prejudicial in the sense that it leads to the guilt of the defendant. However, it's relevant to the sense that the prosecutor had to lay out what did the crime scene look like and also where the pieces of evidence were located, especially in the case where the defendant claimed that the injuries occurred as a result of being shot at. This would tend to dispute the car being as a result of a drive-by, but instead of that, the shooting took place inside. So, of course, the probative value definitely outweighs the prejudicial effect.
Yeah, it gives us a lot more information about what happened in that car. Well, Law and Crime has a reporter, Bryson Paul, inside the courtroom covering this trial for us. He's able to give us some insight into what the cameras don't see. Let's take a listen.
You definitely notice the animosity between the victim's family and YNW Melly's family. Both have looked crossed back and forth at each other on multiple occasions. As evidence and video shows of the now deceased victims, you can see the victims' families even look directly at Melly with a disdain look on their face.
Melly's in a good mood. I'll be honest, like a lot of the media that I'm seeing about Melly in this case, he looks in a great mood. You know, I saw him like doing some weird, like, I don't know if that's the LeBron James like puff of smoke thing. I only seen King Von do that shit, but you know what I'm saying? Melly's doing some weird stuff over there in his corner, and I'm not sure it's going to help him. And then, of course, there was this. There was this that was sus as hell. This was not a good look. Quite frankly, this was not a good look. YNW Melly's attorney's evil plans and stuff notebook.
Or incident happens.
If he did, it's contained. I don't recall at this point.
That is not a good look. That is not a good look. Frankly, she needs to be fired. If I had a lawyer and they're doing that to me in court, bro, you're fired. You're fired, bro. They might as well have tried to cover it up with a copy of Murder on My Mind. Like, what the hell are you doing? Evil plans and stuff. Like, they probably think they're a real kooky lawyer, you know, defending double murderers. I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that. That made me really uncomfortable.
You can see when they have the videos of Melly and Melly and his group of friends walking around, even leading up to the murder, you'll see Melly's mom look over at the victim's family to see what their reactions are. And even at one point in time, when we were about to break, the victim, YNW Juvie's mother, even got up in the middle of the gallery and stared directly at YNW Melly until he looked at her. He's definitely not looking forward to looking at the deceased. He actually refuses every time, whether they're alive in the video or not, he refuses to look at them in the video. He actually just turns away.
I'll be honest, that's not a good look, I would say. If he can't even look at the video, I mean, I guess they're his friends either which way, but like, I don't know, man. Something ain't right. But my guy Miko has sent me the clip, which is supposedly the clip of Melly shedding a tear. Let's see if this is legit.
Exit the courtroom in tears. Melly even appears to wipe his eyelids.
What are we seeing on the screen right now?
So this is the sidewalk portion I was telling you about. Immediately on the bottom left corner of the screen, with these white dashes, that's where the cars drive through. Those dashes are for when the pedestrians are walking across into the yard. Then there's a sidewalk portion, and these are the two doors of the ER. The left door on the left side of the video is the ER adult entrance, and the right is the pediatric
He looks like
entrance.
he's laughing.
But it's one big area. And
No, he's laughing. Bro, he's laughing, bro. Nah, lock him up, bro. He's laughing. That's not cool. He's laughing. Nah, he's bro.
It has also been confirmed that the state of Florida will seek
Fuck
the death penalty against...
F that, bro. He is laughing. He is laughing. You are not going to tell me he's not laughing. I've seen this dude laugh. I don't care if it's Melly or Melvin or Michael Myers. I don't give a shit. He is laughing. You're not telling me he ain't laughing. That man is laughing. That man is laughing while he's seeing the bodies of his two friends being taken out. That is laughter. He did not shed a tear. He did not shed a tear. Hell no. No way. Bro. Nah. Bro. You might have to throw away the key in this one. That's chilling, quite frankly. That's chilling. I don't know. I don't know. They're saying this is edited. They're saying it ain't real. It's edited. But bro, he ain't crying. He got the nerve to laugh. Unbelievable. He laughing because he was in the spotlight, and it's a psychological reaction to being nervous and embarrassed. Cap. Enormous cap. That's the biggest cap I've ever heard. Ridiculous. He's covering his mouth. He's laughing. So evil. That's what a demon looks like. He did not shed a tear. He was laughing. That man was laughing, bro. That man was laughing. And there was another clip of him and his lawyer laughing, like, more outright. Much more outright. Let me find that. I don't know who the hell this is, but lock him up while you're there too. Nah, bro. That sort of behavior, bro, that's how you get cooked, bro. That's how you get the chair, I'd say. I would say it's not... I'd say it's not looking good for Melly, quite honestly. And I know there's been a lot said about how this supposed... this lawyer of his looks really good. And, you know what I'm saying? So people in the comments are saying he's laughing because in the tapes, the investigators said the wrong names. And it's been edited. Interesting. Interesting. Well, fair enough, okay? If that's been edited to kind of paint him as a bad guy, fair enough. But I don't think he should be laughing in court, full stop. It's just not a good look, man. It's not a good look. And I'll be honest, I'm just not convinced by his defense. I mean, we could look a bit closer at his defense. But I'm kind of just, like, interested to see where this whole thing goes, to be honest.
Prosecutors are given great power, endless resources to perform their mission of pursuing justice. But that's not what occurred here. What they will bring you is a case they have no motive. Their entire...
He's saying they have no motive, but today there's been this been floating around. Man. Okay, there's been this thing going around today. Let me find out. Before I speak out of turn and say the wrong thing, let me just double check that this is legit. The thing that I heard. There was a motive floating around. I'm not going to say it until I got an outside source because I don't want to catch that. Don't want to catch that defamation case, gang. But where is it? 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 Maybe it was Cap. Maybe it was misinfo. Could very well be misinfo. So look. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Where is it? If it's on Flacco's page, I don't think I can repeat it because it might not be true, but shout out Flacco, man. I'm not seeing it, so it could be Cap. It could be Cap. It could be Cap and Cac. Okay, I think I might have found the tweet. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it's false. This has been going around. Now, his defender just said there's no motive. This has been going, and to be fair, it's on Rap House TV, so this could be cap, but I'm not doing the defamation, I'm just reporting. I'm merely analysing and critiquing what Rap House TV is saying, which very well may be cap. But they're saying 2 days before Sack Chaser lost his life, he allegedly knocked YNW Melly's gold teeth out of his mouth in front of his girlfriend while they had a fight. And again, there was a rumor that it was over money and that Sack was owed an amount. Sack was essentially owed a sack, and he was not receiving it.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvie, not with Chris, but you know, you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said, like, you know, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
Was there any sign of that?
Right. So anyway, tell me more about how there's no motive.
Case. They have no motive. Their entire case is hinged upon the technology of a phone they claim to have been in Mr. DeMons' possession. What they fail to tell you is that they have come across evidence that Mr. DeMons got out of that car before this incident. They ignore that because it's not consistent with their theory. What they fail to tell you is that phone comes back to the name of somebody other than Jamal DeMons. What they forgot to tell you is that their own witness will tell you that, yes, that phone and Mr. Williams' phone and a number of other phones were all in the same account, and all of the people in the house used to use them interchangeably.
So? This guy loves his, like, pregnant pauses. He loves saying some shit that's not really that important, but then he'll pause and be like, what they're not telling you is that Melly got a Capri Sun out the fridge 2 hours after the murder took place. Great.
But they're assigning it to him because that is consistent with their theory.
He's like, you know when you see people and you see like dumb people who think they're smart and they say something you can tell they think is real smart. It's like a mic drop moment, but like you're all just baffled, like, what the fuck did this dude just say? What? Huh? They think you're trying to process this genius thing they said, but really you're trying to make heads or tails of the dumb statement that's just been made.
They don't follow leads.
They don't follow random Instagram accounts called Backwards that get sold and trade hands for $20 and are basically worthless and meaningless. They don't follow any leads, you know, apart from all of those leads at the emergency room and, you know, the cell tower evidence and Melly's own messages where he apparently said, I did that.
They have no motive.
They have no motive apart from, you know, I mean, they don't have any motive apparently. Remember this clip you observed?
Disputes about money over certain situations.
No motive.
Investigation was botched.
Investigation was botched, although actually it seemed quite good, and it seems like they really wrapped Melly's ass up with the facts, allegedly.
Investigation, as a matter of fact, is still going on as we speak, up to a couple months ago.
It's still going on as we speak, up to a couple months ago when it stopped. Man, just stop. Nice long pause too.
Yet they're here telling you they have proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and what you're still investigating for.
He said they stopped a couple months ago, my bro. Pause.
The job of the state is to prove it beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. And if you're a reasonable person and you have doubt, that's reasonable doubt. There's a song called Things That Make You Go, If you say,
And there's an album called Reasonable Doubt. That's fire. None of this matters. Tell me more about your favorite song.
That's Reasonable Doubt.
There's a song called Murder on My Mind. My guy, just drop a playlist. It's fine. I haven't even got a pause. I got hella time to talk in these pauses. Hella time to say stuff. He's not saying nothing. He's not saying. I got loads of time to talk. There we go. What?
Miss Bradley is charming. She's good at her job in some respects.
She's charming. She a babe. She got a back too. She got one fine ass, and she good at her job. But
this is not a popularity contest. We don't give, hey, good effort. We don't give participation awards.
He freestyled it. We don't give participate. What the hell is he talking? We don't give participation trophies. We don't give. What the hell is he talking about?
It's hanging in the balance. And if there is a scintilla of reasonable doubt, you must have the courage to speak up and say so. You're not here to judge him.
Yes, they are.
You're here to judge the sufficiency of their case.
I don't know. A lot of people are saying like, oh shit, Melly looks like this lawyer might be able to save his ass. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure, and I'm not entirely convinced. This guy, he knows how to do a good pause. But is it going to be enough to save Melly's skin? I don't know. But we're going to find out soon. Keep watching. Keep tuned in. That's enough Melly talk for now.